Hi there, music appreciation students. I wanted to make a video for you because we will not have live class. So you'll actually get a video for each day, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week, because I'm going to be out of town. I will see you next week on Monday and Tuesday before we have our Thanksgiving break. Today's lessons 1.13 and 1.14 are actually very short as far as content's concerned, so it makes it nice and easy to do a video for. We already started talking a little bit about evaluating music, but mainly just thinking about how do you decide if you like a song or not. And now we're going to do a little bit more of getting into developing criteria for evaluating a song. Okay, so it's got a few questions here about thinking about how you could possibly decide. Um, for example, was the performance in tune? Was it in time? That means, are they keeping the tempo steady? Was there balance between the performers? Other things like you might want to think about how well the musicians sounded, as if they were trained well, and if they um, were able to practice maybe before the performance or something like that. If it's a recording, most likely it's going to be done very well because they're not going to release a recording that was not done in a way that would be pleasing to the most of the public. Um, but anyway, it talks also about how, I'm trying to get to my particular tools that I want. The criteria are based on emotions or feelings. Okay, that's one way to be rating a music, thinking about how the emotion is connected to the music that you are hearing. But there's also more technical ways to evaluate. So down here, we talk a little bit more about the technical criteria. So that would be more about whether you feel that they're playing in tempo, for example, correctly together, if they're hitting the correct notes, if you hear mistakes or anything like that by the musicians. So thinking about some of those things, what would be good for you to use as your criteria? Okay, I'm going to go back to like looking at over here. It just has a little student guide. You can look at this yourself, but I'm just kind of going through the lesson a little bit so that you see what your assignment's going to be. So that was the introduction. And if I'm going to the evaluating music section of Learn, it's actually just telling you about the assignment, okay, which is what you will be doing on where it says assess. We'll get to that in a minute. So we're going to download the listening graded assignment. Then you use the on-screen samples to answer the questions. Well, that wasn't good. Anyway, you know what I'm doing. No, that was awful. Read each question carefully before answering and answer each question clearly and completely. And then finally submit the completed assignment to your teacher by the due date for grading, which is due today, or well, it depends on when you're watching this, on Wednesday. It's worth 20 points. Of course, as you know, you have time to complete it. So if it doesn't get finished and turned in on that day, you can still complete it later, and you have unlimited times to correct it if you don't like the grade that you get. So we're going to look at the questions, but before that, I want to show you, this is what I think is a little tricky, is that you have to go in here in this practice listening, evaluating music, page 2 to find the music. Okay. So these are all the tracks you're going to be listening to. There are 4 tracks. They're not jazz, right? Not necessarily. Okay. So we've got different types of music and different styles going on here, and there's small samples of them. So sample 1, Hornpipe by George Frederick Handel. So that's a Baroque piece of music written in the 1600s. We have number 2, Mambo Boogie by Tom Moss. Number 3, In the Hall of the Mountain King by Edvard Grieg. And probably you will recognize that one even if you don't realize it when you read the title. And sample 4, The Elements by Eric Tauren. So when we think about this, we're going to be listening to each one of these and then rating them. So I'm going to open up the evaluation assignment, which is, nope, this one. Sorry. So on here we have, excuse me, each one of these, the first one, it already gives you what they think maybe you would want to put. 5 because the musicians played in tune, 5 because they played in time, meaning they were together and stayed on tempo. If you want to change any of these, feel free to, put something else there. next to it. You could delete that and put a 4 if you didn't like the 5. I don't know. It's up to you. Um, so then you'll come down here, though, really not having to score this first one. And you're going to do the first one really for Mambo Boogie. Okay. And then for In the Hall of the Mountain King and the Elements. And then you're going to select your own song. Okay. So when you do this, you need to know the correct title and the performer or group. If you know the composer and it's a different person than the performer, I'd love for you to put that there, just to show me that you're doing a little research on that. Okay. And you're going to rate all of these elements as well. By the way, in all this, you're also describing why you chose the rating. Okay, so you need to put something there. It doesn't have to be a long sentence, but you can say, for example, if you were listening to a piece of music where you didn't feel they were in tune and you put a 2, you could say something like, it sounded like the horns were not in tune with the strings. I don't know. Most of the time, strings would be the ones that would be out of tune more often than others. But that would be an example of that. Okay. And of course, you're going to submit it for grading. Hopefully, you know how to do that by now. To do that, it's actually on, go back to the content, and it's on under where it says, why is this not going? Oh, it's slow. Where it says assess. Okay. So right now I'm on learn, and I'm coming down here to assessment. Sorry, not assess, assessment. Okay, so this is where you got that assignment, and when you're done, submit the assignment for grading. Okay. 1.14 is a choice assignment. Every time we have, basically right before our unit test, we're going to have a choice thing to do. So the rest of what you do with today, Wednesday, is your choice. Once you finish the evaluation project, you can choose if you have other things you need to finish. Filling out your music log. If you didn't complete your discussion answer, do that. Or you can type something else in the discussion if you'd like. Go through the prior lessons to be getting ready for the test. And I'll tell you that Thursday is going to be reviewing information for the test and anything else that you think is musically enriching for you. Okay. Also, this kind of talks about the guide, but that's every one of these has a guide that kind of tells you different choices of things to do. Well, for this is your choice. So just to let you know, you can download that and look at that if you want to. I want to take a quick look at the music log for this week. So the practice log is pretty much always the same. If you've been doing the practice log, you're still just completing that every day. The ones that I've seen so far have been very good, very complete. So I appreciate that. You're putting in, answer these questions, what you're doing to practice your instrument or your voice. If you're doing this week's, nope, that's the wrong one. If you're doing this week's listening log, different questions than we had from last week. So we are, again, this time you're picking a song and you're putting whether it's the cover, it's supposed to be a cover. So you're thinking of what the original group was and the name of the new artist that's covering it. Okay, so there's lots of music like that you may do some research on a song and realize that this was done 40 years ago or even longer originally, and it was performed by a different band first. So all of these questions, you'll just answer along with that. And then part 2, and you don't have to do this all in one day. This is kind of why we put it for a week to do. You can take some time to do this. More additional exploration of the topic. So when you get to this page, I want to tell you, and I forgot to mention this before to most people, we aren't going to do this independent listening log. So you don't need to worry about part 3. That is not even a project we're going to be doing for this trimester. You won't see it on your assignments anywhere. So you don't have to answer part 3. And I'm just going to tell you that now in case you're doing that. And I probably should put that somewhere so that you can see that. So that's basically all you need to worry about for today, Wednesday. Working on your evaluation assignment, and then also anything else of your choice. Make sure you're getting your music logs finished. And I will see you on Monday, but I'm going to be also sending out a couple more recordings before this so that you'll be ready for taking the test on Friday. All right. Have a good one.